Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on The King at the Edge of the World by Arthur Phillips. In The King at the Edge of the World by Arthur Phillips, it's 1601 and Queen Elizabeth is dying. Without an heir, the kingdom grows nervous. That only leaves King James VI of Scotland as a possible sovereign who many fear practices Catholicism. It falls to Geoffrey Bellock, a former battlefield warrior, to discover the truth behind which religion King James practices. He enlists a Muslim physician, Mahmud Ezzeddin, to infiltrate the Scottish court and get close enough to King James to reveal his true intentions. First up, the cover of this book, yeah guys, I seriously can't get enough of this cover. I've mentioned this book in a couple different reviews throughout this year so far, and every time I always remark on the cover, because the cover is just so unique and different for the historical fiction genre, because believe me, if you're like me and you read a lot of historical fiction, what is very popular on historical fiction covers? It's usually a woman dressed in period piece, or sometimes not really even period piece. It's just an outfit that just looks good half the time, and it's usually a woman, and all you see is like maybe from like the chin down of the woman or something, and she's usually turned in a certain way. That's usually the type of covers you get with historical fiction, with women, faceless women on the covers with their period piece dresses. And so yeah, I just really like this book because it's just weird, you guys. It's just so weird with this monkey with a crown on its head. I love it. It's just a great historical fiction cover. But now on to the actual review. Oh boy, you guys. Oh boy, this book. It started off promising. Let's start there. This book started off very, very promising, and I read the first 50 pages, and the first 50 pages I was like, man, I am totally on board with this book. I am loving it. And it's kind of after that first 50 pages that the book kind of, I don't know, detours. It starts meandering, and the thing is, this book is not very long, okay? This book isn't even 300 pages. It's only, in my copy here, the hardback edition, is only like 265 pages, and yeah, that's not a very long book, especially in regards to historical fiction. And it's dealing with some pretty weighty, heavy issues. And it's like Arthur Phillips, his writing is beautiful, and he's very descriptive when he needs to be, and he's definitely clearly done his research with the time period, but at the same time there's also just something with the writing that it comes across as long-winded on occasion, it comes across as very meandering. And there's just moments in this book, there felt like there were a lot of scenes that just weren't entirely adding to the narrative, in my opinion, and it's like I said, the book is not very, very long, and a lot of the scenes felt unnecessary at the end of the day, and I'll get into it, you guys. I'll get into just some of my thoughts as I progress with this review. I seriously have some very complicated feelings about this book, because yeah, this review is probably going to sound like I totally hated the book. And I didn't totally hate it. There were moments in this book that I was like, wow, I really love this, I'm impressed, but then other moments it's like, why Arthur Phillips, why? There's so much potential and there's so much promise with this book, but then there's just there's these moments it's like, why is this here? Why is it needed? Where is this book going exactly? And yeah, I feel like this book, because you're given the synopsis, you have your synopsis right here on the flap. You have your synopsis, and that's what the book is, that is exactly what this book is from the synopsis you are reading. But I found myself personally, as I was reading the book, I hope this makes sense. I hope my logic here makes some sort of sense, my headspace. I found myself going, I no longer care about this, I was like, I no longer care about what the plot and the setup is that this book flap is giving me. I'm wanting something completely different at this point. Because I feel like this book had potential to tell a completely different story than what you're actually given. I feel like Arthur Phillips kind of missed out on an opportunity with the character of Mahmoud Ezzedine. Because I freaking love the character of Mahmoud Ezzedine. Please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name, you guys. That's kind of how I was pronouncing it in my head. But yeah, Mahmoud Ezzedine is just, he's a very fascinating character, and just one of the most fascinating characters I've probably read all year, to be quite honest. And there was just wasted opportunity and wasted potential with this narrative. Because, yeah, at the end of the day, this book is very heavily focused on, you know, inner demons and religion, you know, because this is taking place in 1601 at the height of, you know, all of this stuff going on with the Catholics and the Protestants and all that drama and turmoil and, you know, kind of the fear and the paranoia. And that's all well and good, you know, but at the same time, I was like, I need more of Mahmoud Ezzedine, the Muslim physician. I was like, I need his story, you know? And that's what you get. The first 50 pages of this book, because it starts, let me look real quickly. The book, before you kind of get to the big bulk of what the plot is actually about, the book starts in 1591, and you're introduced to Mahmoud Ezzedine. He's a Muslim, he's a physician, and he's like physician to the Sultan of Turkey. You know, he's very well respected and regarded, and kind of through a series of events. Like I said, all of this is happening within the first 50 pages, so it's all very quick and rapid. Through a series of events, Mahmoud, he ends up going on this, like, this mission to England, essentially, with, like, an ambassador and some other people from the Turkish court and whatnot. They're all there to go talk with Elizabeth, essentially. So Mahmoud is kind of brought into this whole thing, and once again, then through a series of circumstances, because a fellow, someone he works with, that he thought he was kind of close to some extent, his own people end up betraying him and using him, and he's left as an exile in England, and he's forced to stay there. So then the novel skips forward 10 years, and that's when we get to 1601, and that's where the story really takes off. And that's kind of what I'm saying here. The first 50 pages where you get Mahmoud Ezzedine's backstory and how he's an exile in England, all of that was so fascinating to me, and I felt like that was where the story was. You know, I felt like that was the true story of this novel, was Ezzedine's his exile. You know, I was like, man, I want this book to be all about his exile in England and him really at conflict with certain things going on, and yeah, where is he with the Catholics and the Protestants? Because yeah, he is forced to become a Protestant. So yeah, what does that mean to his Muslim religion? You know, like, I was really wanting all of this deep debate within himself and all these inner demons, and yeah, he would be, you know, a stranger in a foreign land, and how would all these people, you know, these white people essentially, how would they all treat him, and the reactions, and yeah, could he find friendship? Could he find, you know, maybe another woman to love, since he was cruelly taken away from his own wife, you know, with probably never ever seeing her again, you know. So to me, I was like, man, that's the story right there. You know, I was like, that is the story. Is Ezzedine as a foreigner in this foreign country that he doesn't want to be in. You know, he's there reluctantly, and he was betrayed by his own people, you know. So instead, the novel it goes, you know, like what this flap says. What this flap says, you guys. The story then turns into the whole thing of, okay, Queen Elizabeth I, she's on her deathbed. She could die any day. You know, it could be months or a year from now, but still, she's kind of dying slowly. We need to figure out if King James VI of Scotland is going to be a good sovereign when Elizabeth dies. Because, yeah, at the moment in history, Elizabeth was Protestant, and then there was all that concern about King James, if he was Catholic or Protestant, because his mother, Mary, Queen of Scots, she was Catholic, and she was the cousin of Queen Elizabeth, and yeah, Elizabeth, she beheaded her own cousin, essentially. So there's that worry and concern and paranoia. You know, we have Protestantism now, but yeah, is King James, if he becomes our sovereign, is he going to come in and make us all Catholic again? So that's where this book goes, because that's where the book then steers to, and we're introduced to our next main character named Geoffrey Bellock. He's a former battlefield warrior, and he's kind of been given this mission to be like, hey, we need to figure out, you know, King James, his religion, essentially. So he enlists the help. This is where Mahmoud Ezzedine re-enters the equation. Geoffrey Bellock recruits Mahmoud Ezzedine to be a spy, essentially, and wants him to infiltrate the Scottish court of King James VI. And yeah, what better way to do that than, you know, kind of pose as a physician. You know, a physician can get to a king, essentially, get in close proximity to a king. So yeah, that's where the story goes, you guys. And I mean, that's all fascinating and all. I did like that. Especially once Ezzedine does get to the court of King James, and yeah, their interactions, which are very humorous and quirky and just really strange and weird, and there's like this strange bond between them that's unexpected, and it's here that the book, it gets very heavy on Ezzedine kind of interrogating James as best he can, you know, trying to figure out if James is Catholic, if he's Protestant, and it takes him a lengthy amount of time to kind of figure out the truth and if it even matters, you know. And yeah, that's where this book kind of goes. We start heading into that religious debate and whatnot, and like I said, I did like those scenes and I appreciated them, but the entire time in the back of my head, I don't know, this might just be a personal problem for me, you know, this might not be a problem for other readers, but yeah, for me, I think I just personally wanted this book to be something other than what it was, you know. I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself correctly. You know, it's hard to kind of get what I'm thinking out here, but yeah, I really wanted this book to be very heavily focused on just Ezzedine as a foreigner in a foreign country, you know, and his struggles and his own personal demons, because you do get his struggles and his personal demons kind of scattered in there, but not to the depth and length that I was kind of hoping for. And yeah, there is so much time also spent on the character of Geoffrey Bellock. Like I said, he's the guy who enlists the help of Ezzedine to help infiltrate the Scottish court. And yeah, Geoffrey Bellock, yeah, Arthur Phillips spends a very, very lengthy amount of time going into Geoffrey Bellock's backstory and how he became a spy and kind of some of his past missions. And a lot of it did just feel like filler, like I said, because this book is not very long, and yeah, Arthur Phillips, it felt like he was just using a lot of filler, like, hey, I don't really have much else of a story to tell here other than the King James and Ezzedine moments that are soon to come, so I'm just going to fill in all this space with backstory for Geoffrey Bellock and how he became a spy. And yeah, that's not the book to me, you know, that is not the book. This book is not about, like, Geoffrey Bellock, you know. Am I making sense, you guys? And then add on top of that, this ending, I don't know what the hell Arthur Phillips was doing with this ending, because it's like he was trying to be deep and interesting and thought-provoking, but instead, once again, it all came out as kind of confusing and meandering, and I left this book highly dissatisfied, and I just didn't really entirely understand what I had just read at the very end of this book, and what was actually happening and what wasn't, or something. I don't know. The ending of this book was very confusing and very conflicting for me. And I left the book very highly dissatisfied and very disappointed, especially because this was a book that I was very much looking forward to for the whole year. So you guys, that is it for my book review on The King at the Edge of the World by Arthur Phillips. And yeah, at the end of the day, I went into this book with high expectations, but I left the book disappointed and wishing the narrative had done something completely different to what the book synopsis was giving me, if that makes any sort of sense, you guys. So, you guys, have you guys read The King at the Edge of the World? Do you plan on reading it? Just let me know your thoughts down below. I definitely recommend, if you are interested in this book and maybe you're a little confused, maybe check out some other reviews and see what other reviews are kind of persuading you to either read or not read this book. But yeah, you guys, that's it for this book review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.